managed to sort of do a little bit of a mini pivot at OurCrowd over the last year. And when we started the OurCrowd project, the cool and the really innovative thing was that we were giving you the chance to pick your company. You saw a specific company downstairs, you fell in love with it, we fund it, you choose it, you can start at $10,000 and go up. And that was cool. We raised quite a lot of money, and we continue to do a lot of that. We have a very large portfolio. But along the way, people said, wait a minute, I need to build my portfolio. You guys are doing so many deals, it's like a fire hose. Do me a favor, manage some money, build me a fund, and I'll give you a larger sum of money. So along the way, we did that as well as a method of giving you better diversification. So I mentioned earlier this morning that if you don't invest in a portfolio, if you don't take a portfolio approach to all of this wonderful investing, if you think you can pick the Uber 1 out of 100, it's not going to happen. It's better and more fun to go get the free drinks at the casino and go to the roulette table. Okay, don't think you can pick 1 out of 100. You have to bet and invest on a portfolio. So we've created structures that allow our investors now not just to do 1 deal or 2 deals, but to actually build the portfolio size necessary with the appropriate diversification of 10 deals, 20 deals, and in fact with OurCrowd 50, even 50 deals for only $50,000. We're giving people the ability to diversify according to stage and sector, and some of our funds are actively managed, and you're about ready to meet the managers who will come on stage and talk about the funds that they're building. And we're giving people broad access now to very, very competitive and well-managed funds for as little as $50,000. And even more exciting is that by getting into these funds, you're actually securing what we call preemptive rights, which is the ability when the company actually does well and you want to invest again in that company to ante up more and to get more exposure. So as I showed you this morning, we have stage funds, OurCrowd First. We have OurCrowd Cure, which is in the sector area, Maniv, mobility. You're going to see these now in our Radical Agriculture Fund, Geography Australia, and our strategy funds, OC Squared and OC 50. The next fund we're going to bring up to the stage was the first fund that OurCrowd launched called OurCrowd First, appropriately. Not just because it was our first fund, but because it's also focused on the earliest stage of investment, seed capital. In my career earlier, I had founded something called Israel Seed. I love seed investing. And these guys who are running that fund now are just killing it. The 3 partners, Eduardo Chaval, Yori Nelken, and now joined by Avi Reichenthal, the former CEO of 3D Systems, were named the most active seed fund in the country. They're building a great portfolio. They'll soon be raising their newest fund. And I want to bring up on stage Yori Nelken, general partner of OurCrowd First.
Thank you, John. Most active seed fund, indeed. I feel it every day of the week. Presentation is coming up. My partners, Avi, Eduardo, and myself, the 3 of us are serial entrepreneurs. We've created multiple companies from conceiving them, through scaling them, all the way through their exit, created billions of dollars in shareholder values to date. What's really interesting is that each one of us, on its own way, we found our way back into doing seed investing, into coaching and mentoring young entrepreneurs. And that passion that the 3 of us share brought us together as a cohesive team at OurCrowd First. I certainly think we live in a very unique point in history where the convergence of multiple technologies, what we call exponential technologies, those technologies that do get twice as good for half the price year over year for a long stretch of time, are changing every aspect of our lives. Our combined almost a century of experience in the bleeding edge of innovation is helping us to help our companies harvest the upside of this disruption. We've made 18 investments over the last couple of years. in many great companies. You've seen some of them today. And based on that success, we are going to launch our new fund, our second fund, very soon. I'm sure you will all hear about it. Thank you very much.
Our newest investment, just announced today, is in a fund called Maniv Mobility. Maniv has been set up by a very dear friend of mine for a long time, a guy named Mike Granoff. Mike was part of the founding team at a very important company called Better Place. The end wasn't pretty at Better Place, but a lot of lessons were learned, and it took Mike deeply into the cutting edge of transportation technology and the future of autonomous driving, such that he's built a fund, which you'll hear about in a second, with 13 portfolio companies. He's now opening it specially for OurCrowd investors, so you can get in at par at those 13 companies and join as we build the next generation of transportation tech companies. Mike Granoff and Maniv Mobility, please join us.
So how many people here know what year the horse population of the United States peaked? Any guesses? The answer is 1920. And I'm here to tell you that the car population of the United States will peak less than 100 years after that. In fact, we might have seen a peak in new car sales just last year in the United States. So what does car sales have to do with Israeli innovation? So over the last 25 years, we've seen obviously an incredible explosion of the digitization of information and communications, and it's changed all of our lives. Maniv was founded on the belief that we're going to see that same kind of transformation happen in transportation over the next 25 years. And it's going to result in a world where we get around in self-driving, autonomous, connected, electric, and on-demand vehicles. And the per-mile cost of that is going to be a fraction of driving a car today. Today's transportation system that was built layer on layer over 100 years is really incredibly inefficient. We buy these cars for a lot of money, use them 4% of the time, half that time in traffic or looking for parking. And parking space in the United States is equivalent to the land space of two states of Delaware, or you could think of it as 2/3 the state of Israel. And the energy piece is also insane. Never mind what it takes to get fuel into the vehicle. Once it's there, 1% of that is actually moving the driver, who's usually the only person in the car. So Morgan Stanley's figured out that if we went to this autonomous, connected, on-demand system, we could save, just in the United States, annually, $1.3 trillion in accident avoidance, productivity gains, and so forth. So what are the tools, what are the raw materials needed for this new transportation world? Well, it's machine vision, machine learning, big data, robotics, cybersecurity. And anyone think of a place where those things are well stocked? Of course, here in Israel. And that's why we're seeing an incredible, the entire global auto industry has their eyes on Israel now, setting up R&D here, having scouts here, sending delegations of their leadership. And you've probably heard of most of these companies. Mobilize come up a bunch today. I think it's appropriate that Israel's largest IPO happened in this sector and really is the flagship for the sector, but there's a lot more where it came from. And in Maniv, we've already invested in 13 companies, most of them in Israel. Just to highlight a couple of them, they're in these 4 quadrants that we see making up this space. There's the car, the vehicle itself, there's the connectivity in the vehicle, amongst vehicles and vehicle infrastructure. There's business model innovation, and we all think of Uber or Get Taxi. In that regard, there's a lot more there as well. And there's the autonomous piece. That's a company named Oryx that we're invested in here that's developed a vision sensor. It's really the eyes of the electric car. On the connectivity side, a company named Autonomo, which is monetizing automobile data. And we're very excited to be partnered now with OurCrowd and to give everybody an opportunity to join us on what we think is going to be an incredible journey into the future of transportation.
I don't know how much you guys know about some of those companies, but these are among the leading companies in the world in this space, and we're delighted to have Mike part of our team and to be working with Maniv. Last but not least, I want to show you again something about our OurCrowd 50 portfolio index fund. Again, this is a $50,000 investment. It gets you into 50 deals. Literally, the next 50 deals on the platform will be placed for you. It gives you sector diversification. You get an idea of all the sectors that you've seen here today, as well as stage diversification. It includes from seed deals all the way up to later stage. So that's the OurCrowd 50. We are experimenting and trying to develop and innovate new tools, trying to find a way to give you, the investor, a chance essentially to roll your own, to basically say, you know what, I'd like to build my own kind of funding instrument. And why the heck not? With technology the way it is, with the size of our platform, our partners, our robust deal flow, why shouldn't we be able to give you the ability to actually give us your preferences and show us what you want? So to show you what's coming out of our cool new labs at OurCrowd, our head of product, Chief Product Officer, Shai Ben-Tovim. Shai, share with us the new stuff. Thanks.
Hi, thanks. Thank you, John. So I'm just going to start by reiterating again how important diversification is to individual investors. Bruce was sitting here on stage just a couple of minutes ago and was saying how much he hates losing money, but the reality is that even the best VC funds expect and actually do lose money on many of their individual investments. And as an accredited investor with OurCrowd, there are several ways that you could create a diversified portfolio. So first and foremost, you can, of course, research and choose our deals as they come up on the platform. And you've been exposed to some of our great funds and our managed funds. We have a great diverse collection of funds that you could choose from. But now we want to introduce a new tool to our accredited investors, which allows them to utilize the OurCrowd platform as a global hub of startup investment to build portfolios that fit their personal preferences. Let's take a look how. So every investor has their own view on how technology will impact the world, and they have their own different risk profiles that underlie their investment strategies. And we'd like investors to be able to basically configure and personalize their portfolios and tailor them based on sector, stage, location, and the founding team experience. So for example, I might be an investor who's really interested in, hold on, I'm an Apple guy, and this touchpad, okay, let's just use the scroll on the side. So I could be an investor who is really into fintech and is looking for later stage deals to better manage risk. Or I might be a different investor who's actually interested in consumer tech. Let's get rid of fintech, and let's maybe add some transportation tech. We just heard of Maniv. And I'm interested in seed and early stage deals. So investors can choose from dozens of combinations to build their portfolios, and any deal that comes up on our platform that matches your investment strategy, as you've defined here, you will get guaranteed allocation to that deal. Our personalized portfolio feature is live today for our accredited investors on the OurCrowd platform through our new portfolio products page. Here you can also find more information about some of the funds that John and Cure and Maniv have presented. And personalized portfolios is just another way, it's just another part of our continuous effort to simplify access to startup investment. Thank you.